Hello, everybody, and here is episode 9 of Relationships. I actually made by many requests I had on Oscar Sodom, other social media platforms, where people say, "What do you think about long distance relationships?" That's my topic today. And when I start out with that, as it is today, I want to take a couple minutes to go with you down memory lane. There was a time without computer, without FaceTime, without Zoom, without cell phones. We could make videos or see each other or talk on each other. There was a time when people had to write letters, and it took a few days to get a response in a letter, and back and forth. What we can do now in seconds, it took time. So long distance was a little bit more difficult. Also, the ability to travel long distance was not as common as it is now. But it's past. We're living in now. Long distance relationship. I want to start out with one thing. There's two distances. Yes, there is. There's one time the distance we have to overcome in miles, travel from point 1 to P to see each other. And there's a second one. There's emotional distance. The emotional distance is dangerous. The emotional distance has nothing to do with how far you apart from each other. If you feel connected closely. And why I say it's so dangerous, because somebody can sit in your living room, right next to you on the couch, and there's an emotional distance. So, making it simple, what I like to do, a distance in miles can be overcome. It is almost impossible to overcome an emotional distance. So, getting this out of the way, I want to say that long distance with FaceTime, Zoom, telephone, texting gives us many opportunities to get to know each other before we meet. And that's a good thing. We can exchange our interest. We can exchange our intentions we have by meeting each other. We can satisfy our curiosity about a person we met on a social media platform, or we met whatever it was or wherever it was, and we would like to continue keeping in touch. This keeping in touch is important, because if we lose touch, that's when what I talked before about emotional distance comes in. So we also have to consider then, and here comes the part, no matter in which part of the country you are, one is there, or even somebody is in a different country, somebody's overseas, we get impatient sometimes. Don't overlook, there's a time difference. Okay? I'm on the West Coast, somebody on the East Coast is 3 hours ahead of me. If you go to Europe, they're 9 hours ahead of me. So always consider the time difference. And how you can overcome that is just when you text and you want to see each other live, make a time where you both feel comfortable seeing each other on a video and talking to each other. Make yourself feel comfortable. When something comes in your mind and you want to text the other person, and you look at the clock and says, wow, it's 3 o'clock at night, that they might be asleep. They will see it when they wake up and might be pleasant surprised or you might be pleasantly surprised to find it when you wake up, some heartwarming message. Um, and that is all part of getting to know each other. So we have to have a little bit patience. And a long distance relationship, what is important there too is that there is an initial meeting, yes, where you both sit across from each other, where you can look not only through Zoom or a video in each other's eyes, physically sit across, where you can touch each other's hand, where you hear the voice, not only through the telephone, no. And that will give you also a different impression. That can go one way or the other. That's not what happens. People were really into each other, and when they met in person, it wasn't so much anymore. Because we feel also the chemistry to each other on it, and the intentions might change. Our chemistry might change. And that's why it is very important when you have a long distance relationship that you, when you text, when you talk on the phone, when you Zoom or Skype or whatever you do, that you talk casually. Casually, what means don't use a sales pitch how good you are. Be who you are. Don't dress up for the video. Be who you are. Because it will make it a lot easier when you meet in person that there is no disappointment. When we get all dressed up and made up and whatever we do to impress, and we see each other in person, that can make a difference. If the people know us as we are, the disappointment rate is a lot lower. And put it this way, when your intentions of both right, and you decide how you're gonna overcome the distance in miles and make it work, being together. You see each other anyway in work clothes and in the morning or whatever in the evening, when you're not all fresh, made up, and when your clothes might be wrinkled because you worked all day or you sat in your car all day. So create an atmosphere of being authentic. And that is very, very important in a long distance relationship. Be authentic. Do not rush. Give yourself and the other person a chance to say, yeah, I want to do it. Because if you do it by long distance and you make it no distance, that is a commitment. And you should be sure, both of you, you can make this commitment, long-term commitment. Because we don't need a heartbreak. We don't need drama. We don't. So use this modern technology to come closer, even with a distance in miles. Come emotionally closer. Be curious with the right intentions. Not because you're lonely, not because you whatever you want from that person. You have to want each other. You have to bond. You have to feel the chemistry you have for each other. Then the long distance in miles becomes a very short distance emotionally, and your desire to be together will grow, and you will be more curious to know about that person, not the past. No, the future you can build with a person, and the future starts now. That's what you say. And Another thing before I close this little video here about long distance is make sure you meet a few times before you decide to make the distance in miles disappear. Make sure there is no distance emotionally, because I want you, when you go in a long distance relationship, that it becomes a real relationship where both of you are happy into the rest of your life.